Why do you think that only a small percentage of the deep has been explored, and why do you think the government doesn't want to fund for more?
It's true that only a small percentage of the deep ocean has been explored. It's been mapped from the surface acoustically, so we know the rough shape of the seafloor. So we know where the big, where the spreading centers are, the mid-Atlantic or the mid-ocean ridges, and so on. But we haven't gone down there and looked at almost 97% of the ocean floor, and we haven't actually gone down there and looked to see what was there. And you know, we knew that there was a big ridge a big ridge down the center of the Atlantic, but until they went down with a submersible, they didn't know that it was teeming with life. So you have to go and look. And you know, the government spent a lot of money on oceanographic research in the 50s and 60s, mostly for military reasons. They wanted to map the ocean so that they could figure out where enemy submarines might be traveling and things like that. But after that, they have stopped funding, and so now the funding comes from private sources, and you know, so there's some institutional money, but not much, which is why ocean exploration has really you know, moved to a lesser pace than it was before, which is unfortunate.
How did your interest in all of that contribute to the making of Avatar?
Well, Avatar is a movie that celebrates the wonders of a world, an unknown world, and the process of science, of trying to understand that world. And one of our main characters, played by Sigourney Weaver, is a scientist who's trying to understand how this world works and how the different organisms there are connected together. And in fact, in the story of Avatar, all the trees of the planet are joined together into one big neural network, which is what she finds out. And she tries to understand that better, and ultimately turns out that that neural network is an intelligence which can actually do things, which we find out at the end of the movie. So it's very important for science to study the natural world and find out the interconnectedness in the food web and so on. And Dijanna, you can speak to that question because that's what you do.
Yes. So. The film beautifully shows that connection, and as scientists, that's what we do here, is we are trying to figure out how we are all connected on a biological level in ecosystems, and how that interaction is going to affect the future of our planet, and how are we going to be able to persist. So for me, specifically in Aliens of the Deep, I study animals that live in this extreme environment at the bottom of the ocean, and they are exposed to toxic chemicals, extremes of temperatures, high pressure, high pH, and I try and figure out what in that organism's body on a physiological level, basically that's a fancy word, how does it work? Physiology is just how does something work biologically. How does it cope with that extreme environment? And to connect it back to here, we're changing our planet at an extremely rapid, let's see, how can I say this better without offending people? Our planet is changing. It might be getting warmer, it might be getting hotter, but I'm pretty confident that we all believe now we are having an impact on our planet. And our bodies are going to have to respond to that in some way. So understanding the physiology of organisms that are already adapted to extreme environments might help us better understand how we might cope with the changes that we are making at an alarming rate that the planet has never experienced before.